What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Chopping It Up with P. And this week, again, y'all are the guests. I feel like I want to have this conversation with y'all, obviously, and I feel like this conversation is very, very taken to anyone, but I feel like more towards my age group. Obviously, high school as well. And I guess all every part of life because we are still growing every day, and we are still figuring out what we want to do in this life, and not just what we want to do in this life, but just a lot of different things, and all of that is kind of towards by the people that we're around and that are influencing us every day. Those choices we make and everything that we do. So yeah, outgrowing people is weird. Let's set that straight. Outgrowing people is weird because you're kind of going through a lot of different things, and in your mind, a lot of it doesn't seem right. A lot of it don't feel right. A lot of it makes no sense. But that's what actually makes the most sense out of all of it, because it shows that you are like growing and just, you know, going up, within, your strength, your character, how you handle yourself, what you do, what you don't do anymore. And yeah, this is your host, Pierre, by the way. I forgot it. I think I forgot to say that. But yeah, growth changes. It changes what you tolerate, the way someone speaks to you. You know what I'm saying? The tone of which someone speaks to you, the way someone addresses you. You know what I'm saying? Growth changes that for sure. It changes what you tolerate, what you don't tolerate from people. What you tolerate in this relationship or this friendship, you won't tolerate in the next. You learn from that. It changes what you laugh at. Growing up, we all like, even now we still all make stupid jokes and shit, and stuff like that. But you know, growth will change that. It'll change what you laugh at. It really will be like, damn, I used to think that was funny. Now you just look stupid, dumbass. You know what I'm saying? But it definitely changes what you laugh at. Definitely changes, and that changes the people you're around, because those kind of jokes and those kind of remarks definitely have a strong will on you now more than it did back then. It changed what you prioritize, what you prioritize within, you know, relationships, money, family. You know what I'm saying? Maybe back then you prioritize weed. You prioritize weed, smoking and, obviously smoking, drinking, and going out with your friends. Maybe now you prioritize more of a stable lifestyle. You know, that's not judging. Again, that's not me judging y'all and everything. But maybe now you prioritize more of a, established lifestyle, work, you know what I'm saying? Friends, different type of friends, studying, working out, stuff like that. Maybe your idea of a good time back then, with prioritizing would probably been like, every single week, at least one night out, with the gang and like drinking, smoking and stuff like that, going to the club and stuff. Then maybe now what you prioritize more is your discipline and your hard work in the gym and, you know, whatever you're doing. So that would take a backtrack to the point where you don't even see that no more, because you're so infatuated about what you're doing now, what you're growing into now. It definitely changes what you entertain as well. And what I mean by that is what you entertain, in a sense of entertain, like, just that goes within the people, like the people you entertain, what you entertain. There was some times where you could entertain like a lot of situationships, a lot of just stagnant, not growing friendships or relationship or situationships. But with that growth, right? With that growth changes that. It's like, okay, I'm not putting my time and effort into something that's not growing, into something I don't see forthwith in the future. You know what I'm saying? So like what you entertain really does change with the growth. You know what I'm saying? All these different layers, from what you tolerate, from what you laugh at, from what you prioritize, what you entertain, all changes while you are growing. You know, it is who the person you are becoming, and that is the people that you are leaving behind, though. So you got to understand that as well, because you are growing, but you're leaving those people that you used to fuck with behind. You know what I'm saying? That might be your day ones. It just happens to be, it might be your day ones, or it might be the people you met recently. You know what I'm saying? You ever notice how the things that used to excite you don't hit the same anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like you know, maybe the trolling or like the one night stands or the situationships or you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that don't excite you the same no more because it's like, dude, like, you know, it doesn't excite you. At first, it's a whirlwind because at first you're kind of like, why the hell does it not excite me? It's more of a why question when it's supposed to be more of a question because it's a why question because why doesn't it excite me? But it's a how question because how come it doesn't excite me anymore? The way you phrase a question really changes things. How it doesn't excite me anymore is like, damn, how doesn't it excite me anymore? Because I don't like to do this anymore. I like to do that. I went from here to here. I don't like to do this anymore. I like to do that. Why? Because it's a better benefit of my time. There's better people around it. I see more forthworth in it. You know what I'm saying? So I think with that, with the growth, it's not why. There is a why in a lot of the questions for sure. But I think it's more of a how. Again, this goes back to like everything, for everyone. Like, coming into college, I didn't, we all think that like we're still gonna be friends with the people that we grew up with, whether that's high school or backyard days. But sometimes it doesn't end up that way. You kind of you drift apart into your own things, into what you do. That's not by the fault of y'all, persistent, like persistently as adults. But I think there's no fault to it. It's just growing. You grow into different things. Sometimes you grow into different directions for the better for y'all because your things don't align no more. Or sometimes you grow into a different direction because this person's lifestyle that you used to do or mess around in don't align with you no more. Does that make sense? So you're going this way, but this person, staying stagnant. Maybe it's not maybe it's not their time to, move into their direction yet, just yet. Maybe they gotta experience a little bit more, but you found that, okay, I gotta move because it's time. For them, it's not time, maybe not now. The conversations feel repetitive. A lot of times, like when you like talk when you talk to whoever you're talking to or what you're doing, whatever you're doing, a lot of times, the way you see that you're growing is repetitiveness. That's the conversations. That's what you're doing. Literally it'd be like, oh, wake up, yo, smoke, bake. You know what I'm saying? Then this and then that and then that. Bad decision after bad decision. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of a lot of it's repetitive. You're kind of like, damn, wait, we did this every single morning. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So as you're going into this next person or phase of your life, you kind of compare and contrast and damn, it's not what I do no more. Like see how that benefited me rather than, what I was doing back then. You know what I'm saying? So conversations feel repetitive. What you're doing feels repetitive. The people you hang out with feel repetitive because it's kind of like the same exact person. You know what I'm saying? This same type of person in everyone that you're hanging out with. The energy feels off. It feels off because you're not in that type of space anymore, mindsetly for sure. So the the energy feels off. It's supposed to feel off because it's not the same anymore. You know what I'm saying? You're not the same anymore. I don't think it's hate. I don't think if like, you growing is not hate to that person or what that person is staying the same, the hell, stay in the back, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's hate. I don't think it's no love lost. If anything, I think it's more love because you prove to me why I gotta change. You prove to me why I gotta grow. You prove to where I felt like I needed to make a change in my life. So I don't really see that as a bad thing. I don't think it's hate. I don't think it's any bad blood. I just think it's evolution. It's you growing. It's no hate. It's just you growing. You know what I'm saying? I don't, you don't hate them. I don't think you hate them. I think you just don't fit there anymore. That's okay. That's what happens in life. Don't talk every day no more. It's not the same, but it's cool. You don't hate them. You just don't fit there no more. That's okay. You gotta find a way to be okay with that. There's a lot of guilt in growing. I found there's a lot of guilt in growing. You kind of feel bad for moving differently. A lot of times be like, yo, okay, we're doing this at this time, doing this at this time, and it's repetitive. You're always there. But now that you're growing into doing a lot of different other things, you don't find that. You know what I'm saying? You don't find going back into that because you are moving differently. It could be you as yourself would take that as a bad thing. You'll take that as guilt because like those are your friends and you will still want to hang out with them, but your priorities and stuff just don't align no more. So you want to get away from that, but it's not the bad people. They just you just grew and like they may be taking a longer time to grow, or they might stay like that forever. You don't really know until they they change. But there is a guilt feeling bad for moving differently because you're doing different things with different people now, and it kind of feels like you're leaving them behind. But that's more of your journey more than theirs. They just gotta do what they gotta do. You know what I'm saying? You do feel like you're acting different. I definitely feel like I was acting different a lot when still growing, but definitely feel like I am acting different because, again, what I used to do just don't excite me no more. You know, shit I used to do just don't make sense to me no more. Back then it did, you know, cool, but like not anymore, you know. And here, like here it makes sense what I'm doing for myself. But in here, there is that like guilt of like, why are you acting different? You're switching up on these people, you know, that were there for you. You know, and that could be with family, that could be with friends, that could be with, person you're messing with. It's a whirlwind because it really just depends. But I think you got to find comfort in letting that go. You can't let that eat you up, dude. If you do, then it kills you because you're just in a state of guilt and you're going to feel guilt for growing and moving forward when it's not supposed to be like that. You're going to feel guilt in, you know, diving into these new experiences with people and new opportunities. It may feel like you're leaving them behind, but you're doing what's best for yourself. And out here, that's just how it's supposed to be. That's how it is. You know, that's what you gotta go. You gotta go towards. A lot of friends joke that you changed, quote unquote. You changed. You used to say it all the time. You changed. You changed. We made that as a joke. One of our friends made that as a joke, but it's kind of like now the way you look at it, like damn, okay, like I changed, but at least I changed for the better. That phrase "you changed," I think it's insecurities coming out. If I'm being honest, I think it's insecurities coming out. Like you changed, damn. You're not around us no more. You don't talk to us no more. You think you're better than us. I think that's more of a jealous thing that they're involving, and you're not. Maybe you don't know how to. I think it's more insecurities and jealousy than anything. I might be wrong, but kind of the way I see it, every joke has an intent behind it, even if that intent is very small. You might make a joke, it's gonna make everyone laugh, but makes you laugh. You're not thinking about it a lot, but deep down, you're kind of like deep down. There's a little jealousy or intent behind that for sure. Everything we do is with intent. We move with intent. We're not doing this just to do it. Like fuck, there is an intent behind that. So friends joking that you changed. I mean, yeah, there's obvious intent what we're doing. Um, you're trying to shrink to keep everyone comfortable is a big thing. Um, you know, you kind of want to stay relatable. You kind of want to stay cool with the peeps that you are with. You kind of want to get along with everyone. So sometimes, I think a lot of times actually, you shrink yourself, you shrink what you believe in, you shrink what you do, why you do the things you do, the explanations. You shrink all that just because you want to be relatable and because, you don't want to feel alone in what you're thinking and what you believe in. But I think that's more surge than anything because you are believing in what you do. You got to stand on that. Because if you don't, then it's like you're just piggybacking off everyone else. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Be different, fool. Like, be different. Why you want to be like everyone else? You know what I'm saying? Be different. Like, be you. Fuck everyone else. No one, no one else gonna be there when you're going through everything that you're going through. Your family gonna be there. So again, and even then sometimes that is very difficult. So again, fuck everyone else. Again, trying to shriek to keep everyone comfortable and, you know, compatible and relatable. It does happen a lot. That's not just with friends. That's with relationships. Because you don't want to piss them off, throw them in a bad mood, kind of put your own feelings aside just because, like, damn, I want to hear it. Can't lie, we do that with parents too. Fool. Like, we do tend to, like, you know, I don't want to hear it. So, like, I'll just do what I got to do. I'll just be like, whatever. It's not good, not saying what we do is good, not saying what, parents do is the best as well to put us in that position. But, that's your parents. You love them and you love your friends, so you do what you have to do to keep it at a base, but don't shrink it forever, dude. At one point speak, because, it's hard enough to keep stuff bottled up. Just, yeah. Sometimes you lower your standards just to stay relatable. That's your standards from what you tolerate. It goes back to what you tolerate. Dating, friendship, how you speak to me, how you don't speak to me, how you come at me, what you prioritize, what you laugh at, what you don't laugh at, what you make fun of and not make fun of. You know what I'm saying? So you do lower your standards. Sometimes it happens. Like, you may not even know what happened. You're like, by the time you realize, you're like, damn, what the fuck? This ain't me. You know what I'm saying? I need to allow it back into myself. Sometimes it just happens that, like, something bad really happens to someone, or something or an experience happens. And you're like, damn, I got to change because this ain't me. What happened to me? What happened to the me I know, the me I'm proud of, you know what I'm saying? To look at every day in the mirror. That's just the things you got to look at. Because it does happen. We do lower our standards sometimes. It happens. You don't see it sometimes, but it does. And you just gotta pick it back up, man. Just gotta pick it back up. Growth feels lonely before it feels powerful. It really does. You growing into the person you want to become will feel lonely. Because again, you're leaving that old part of your life. That's like transitioning from, like, state to state. Like, you move from, like me, I've moved from ATL to Maryland. You move for whatever reason you move. You know what I'm saying? You're moving from friendship to friendship, from relationship to relationship, whatever the case is. It feels lonely. It really does. Growth feels lonely before it feels powerful, because you are going to have those questions in those moments of doubt. And those moments of, what the hell is this happening? How do I move from this? That goes back to your standards. That goes back to how you don't fit with those people anymore. That's you realizing that for yourself and no one else. So it does feel lonely before it feels powerful. But when you get through it and it feels powerful, you're like, I can do anything, as long as I have me and God by my side. Distance isn't drama. I don't think distance isn't drama just because I'm not talking to you. So I'm not fucking with you no more, or calling you as often, or texting you as often. I don't think there's no beef. That's just us moving. That's just us moving how we want to move. Not every friendship ends with a fight, a betrayal, or a big argument. Sometimes it's just different priorities, different mindsets, and different seasons. Let me repeat that. Not every friendship ends with a fight, a betrayal, or a big argument. Sometimes it's just different priorities, different mindsets, and different seasons. Again, not everything has to end with bad blood. That friendship, relationship, whatever the case is, it doesn't have to end with bad blood. Sometimes it just happens to end with bad blood, whether that's, again, a fight, betrayal, you cheating, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it does happen to be like that. But a lot of times it doesn't have to come to that. And it doesn't have to be like that. You just kind of make it that way. You know what I'm saying? Not every friendship ends like that, because the more you grow, the more different priorities you're gonna have, the more different mindsets you're gonna have. Again, this goes back to what we talked about in the first place. The growth, what you prioritize, what you entertain. Those are different priorities. You know what I'm saying? Your mindset that you have with these people that you were surrounding yourself in, back then, it's not gonna be the same thing now. because you grew up with different people. You have the same different mindsets now. You have the same, with these people that you are now, you have the same mindset, a better mindset, better better prioritization. You know what I'm saying? Back then, you might prioritize the weed over your job or the girl over your job. No, now you prioritize the job over this, job over that. You know what I'm saying? There's a very big miscommunication, I think, when it comes to relationships and stuff too, because we all know the phrase, bros before hoes, but that's different. Like, there's bros before hoes, and then there's your girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? It's girlfriends before my bros. That's different. That's the person I'm emotionally invested in with. So it's my girlfriend before the bros. It's bros before hoes, yes, but it's my girlfriend before the bros. That's the person I'm building my life with. I'm emotionally invested with. I share a lot with. So she takes prioritization over that. You know what I'm saying? Back then, your mindset might not be like that because you're around the wrong people. Now that you're around the right people, you see it. You know what I'm saying? That comes out to you with the whirlwind because it's kind of like, every girl's the same. Nah, bro. Your girlfriend is different than like all these hoes, fool. You know what I'm saying? So that's a different circuit there. So again, everything has to end with bad blood. Just because we don't talk anymore, just because we don't fuck with each other anymore, that don't mean they're bad blood. That's just us growing. Us growing means at one point we might be friends again, be close friends again. We might, maybe not. It just really depends on how our growth works, and the people we surround ourselves in, and our dreams and aspirations. All of that changes the people you're around in. Your dreams, your aspirations, what you want to do in this life. You know what I'm saying? What check boxes are in a person, stuff like that. All of that changes your priorities and your mindsets, how you think about things, how you go about things, why you're going about it this way, why you're not going about it this way, why you prioritize communication, they don't, right? Why you prioritize, you know what I'm saying? So all of that is a part of your journey and your growth. That's from friends to relationships and stuff. Friendships. So different seasons. You may be in this part of your growth journey. I feel like your growth journey is everlasting, but you might be in this part. This person might be in this part. So your mindset here is different than your mindset here because you haven't gotten here yet. You're still here. That's when you kind of just have to just kind of go with that, go with the flow. Some people are for when you were, who you were. Some people are for who you were, not who you're becoming. And that's hard because, again, those day ones, those are the people for who you were. Probably the drinking, the smoking, the this and the that. The no prioritization people, the no mindset people. For the people for who you're becoming, there's a different set of people that God has for you. And I think we kind of have a hard time in realizing that and admitting that. Because you want to have these people here as well, for who you're becoming. But they don't match, bro. They don't match. You know what I'm saying? That's when you got to cut it off. Kind of just have to let it go. Because you're mixing this for who you were with this for who you're becoming. It's not the same. They might get there. Yes. It's not certain. So again, who you are right now, who you were, it's not who you're becoming. You can't clash those together. It's not going to work. It's not. It might at one point grow as well, but it might not. So that's when you that's when you have to cut people off and let them go, because you are better without them. You are better without that toxic friendship, that toxic situation, that toxic this and that. Because again, it's not the same mindset you have. It's not the same respect and priorities that you have. You can appreciate someone and still outgrow them. It is true. You can still appreciate the people that are here for who you were and still outgrow them. It's not, again, it's not like I hate you. It's just not where I'm meant to be. You know what I'm saying? It's not I don't fuck with you no more. It's not this, it's not that. It's not that I hate you. I just don't fit there no more. Because I'm here. Again, depending on the situations and what's going on, you might have to cut them off. That just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But again, depending on the situation. Outgrowing isn't arrogance. It's not. Growth isn't superiority. I feel like, again, that's a really lackluster way of thinking about it. That's a very jealous way of thinking about it because that person is growing and maybe you're not for whatever reason. It's not superiority. That's just you moving on. That's you getting your mind right. That's you growing into the person you're supposed to become. Again, making those priorities, that mindset. It's not superiority. Again, that goes back to like you changed. People saying you changed. It's not that I'm better than you. I just grew. That's it. Just grew. Maturity is an ego. You being emotionally mature doesn't mean you're better than someone else. You know what I'm saying? People see that maturity, whether that's emotional, stuff like that, or just maturity in general, as like he thinks he's better than us. No, I'm not. I just think about shit different. I see it different. You know what I'm saying? You think this is right. I don't think that's right. I think this comes before this. You think that comes before that. You know what I'm saying? That's a big part about growing. That maturing part. You're not going to laugh at the same jokes. You're not going to do the same things. You're not going to think the same way. You know what I'm saying? Growth is inevitable. It happens at different times of our lives. We just gotta be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Maturity is an ego. Like, it's just you leveling up, within your life. They gotta do the same thing as well, but when they're ready. This isn't boring. It's crazy because I used to actually think that like peace was bullshit, dude. Peace is great. I do whatever I want. I do what makes me happy. I don't have to think about anyone else. I don't have to coordinate my feelings and attentions to someone else. Peace isn't boring. If anything, it brings you up. Like it flourishes you. You're not who you used to be. Peace brings you up. It uplifts you. It's crazy because I think I had this conversation. I'm not sure who I had this conversation with. I was like, bro, girl, whether that's a girl and a guy, when they come into your life, they're supposed to nurture you. You're supposed to nurture each other. You're supposed to bring peace onto your life. Not the toxicity, bullshit, not the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? When a person comes into your life that you want to take seriously, that person is supposed to bring you peace so you can grow together. Because when you're toxic and stuff like that, no one's going to want to grow with that. What's wrong with you? That means you haven't done the work on yourself to be emotionally mature to understand stuff that goes into a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Peace isn't boring. That could be the same thing with friendship. You know what I'm saying? You stop being friends with the people that are always in drama, this and that. You find out your life is peaceful. That don't mean you won't think about them no more or see how they're doing. They just don't fit you no more. Peace isn't boring. It's empowering. It's who you're coming to be. You know what I'm saying? So don't be coming into my life with the nonsense, bro. Bring me peace, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just bring me peace. Because it's not boring. It's what it's supposed to be. You'll find out. Choosing peace over chaos doesn't make you soft. I think it makes you intentional. Intentional about how you move, who with you move. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to move with someone that got a gun. He clearly don't choose peace. You know what I'm saying? He clearly doesn't choose peace. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to move with someone that's emotionally mature or toxic. Fool, that's my brain. Bro, like, you going to fry me every day on some bullshit. I don't need that. You need someone that brings you peace. Peace isn't boring. It makes you intentional. Makes you cautious about what you do, how you do it, and who you do it with. Because everything we do has a repercussion. It's a good and a bad to everything that we do. You're not better than anyone. You're just on a different level of awareness. You see through the bullshit. You don't go for the bullshit. You cut off the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Different mindsets. That's different mindsets. That's different seasons in your growing. Growing is into all of that. It goes into all of that. We're not saying we're better than y'all. We're not saying I'm better than you, better than the next person. We're all human. We all fuck up. We all sin. You know what I'm saying? We all do that. But us growing just gives us a little bit more intention and awareness. And you have to grow, because if you don't grow, like, you're just stuck in this place. Like, and like you're never gonna have. Like, I don't think you're ever gonna take shit serious. And I'm not those experiences on part of your growing. They are. You fucking up as part of your growing. So have those experiences, yes. But keep the main thing the main thing. The lonely middle stage is probably the hardest part, because you're outgrowing your old circles. The lonely middle stage is the hardest part, because again, you're outgrowing your old circles. You're not doing the same shit. You know what I'm saying? You're not influencing the same amount of people. You're not around the same amount of people. You're not around the same type of people. You know, it's weird because it's like you're growing and moving intentional and stuff with these new people. And you're like, damn, I knew it could be like this, but I know it could feel like this. Because again, you don't want to leave those people behind, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And if that means cutting them off, then cut them off, bro. It is what it is. It's life. Trust God. When it's time, it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Not fully in your new circle yet, being in the lonely middle stage. You know what I'm saying? Because you're adapting to new things. You're around new things. You're not around the same people anymore. The same people that you grew very comfortable with or fond of are not the same people here anymore. So you're not fully into that new circle yet. So you do feel lonely, you know, because shit you used to talk to about them, you can't talk about them here because you're not there yet. You're not close to them enough yet because you're still growing. You know, feeling in between, you are going to feel in between because you're in the lonely middle stage. You are going to feel in between. You're going to revert back to being like, oh, damn, maybe I should go back to them, to my old friends. Maybe I should keep growing these people, you know. I don't want to leave them behind. That's all into an intuitive part of you growing and having that lonely middle stage. But again, like, that's you knowing where you want to be. And that's you knowing how you want to get there. So that's a decision you are going to have to make, no one else. See who benefits your life. Follow that. There's a stage in growth where you don't fit where you were, but you haven't arrived where you're going. And that's that middle stage. You don't fit where you were no more because you're not doing the same shit and hanging around the same people. But you haven't arrived where you're going, so you're thinking of reverting back. That's where you got to ask yourself and God, put me in the right direction. Keep doing what you're doing because it clearly has a purpose. You're clearly evolving and moving and good things are happening for you. So what's the point of going back? I promise you that block button is not a crazy thing. That block button is not crazy. They don't align with what you do, what you represent. Because your friends are a representation of you. I tell people all the time. I tell that people all the time. Your friends are a representation of you. How you move. You know what I'm saying? So what they do is a representation of you to a certain extent. So they're messy, people want that you messy as well. Low key. Again, I'm not saying everyone thinks like that, but I do believe your friends are a representation of you, how they move, what they do, what they say, what they believe in. You hang out with them, so you more or less have the same beliefs. You agree on some things. Am I wrong? So again, there's that stage in growth where you don't fit where you were. That's okay. It's got to fight through that because you haven't arrived where you're going yet. Let's get in there. You lose comfort where you gain alignment. You do. You lose comfort because you lose that comfort because you're not in the same place no more. You're growing. So of course you're going to lose comfort into what you were doing before because you are gaining something else, getting something better. You're getting a better alignment to what you're doing, And again, that goes back to everything we've talked about today. So guys, outgrowing people is weird. It's a lot of challenges. It's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. It changes. Your growth changes. There's a guilt of growing. There's a distance that isn't drama, right? There's outgrowing people that isn't arrogance. And there's the lonely middle stage. I don't want y'all to think that like outgrowing people is a bad thing. It's not. It's you taking that initiative in your life to say, this is not me. I don't want to be that way no more. I want to be here. I want to be here. And sometimes it's unfortunate that things happen, bad things happen for us to take that initiative. Sometimes it's meant to be that way. But if it's not, take that. Like, just go. Sometimes you're growing and you don't even realize it. Because again, you're not prioritizing the same people. You're not doing what you were used to do with them. You don't find enjoyment in that anymore. You're here. They're here. You know what I'm saying? Find growth in that. Find happiness in that into your growing. Because it leads to better people and better life. Don't mean there's no bad blood. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean there's bad blood. You know what I'm saying? It's I gotta do what's right for me. And again, 10 times out of 10, it'll feel right here. You know what I'm saying? It won't click 100%. But as long as you know what you're doing is for your greater benefit, that's all that matters. Because you gotta do what's right for you eventually. Stop living for other people. So yeah, thank y'all for joining me today. Another solo episode. Hope y'all took a lot from this, as much as I did. We're all still growing every day, and we are still finding ourselves every day. Could be when you're 40 to like 15 years old and you're still in high school. So outgrowing people is weird, but just don't let it influence your decisions because you're trying to be a better version of yourself. And you should take pride in that. Thank y'all for watching. Been a great episode. See y'all in the next one. Stay safe, y'all.